Today we're talking about how the INFJ intensifies their dark side and makes it their most powerful weapon. I think one thing is clear. The INFJ suppresses their dark side. There is no question about it. Like, you can ask others, you can ask yourself, you will always think that it's easier for others to think about themselves, to do something that might be only in their own benefit, to do something that might not be 100% altruistic. It's way easier for other people than it is for you. For the INFJ, this is like betraying your soul. Like, it's something that doesn't come naturally to you at all. And if it's a choice between I can be myself and I can rather turn the other cheek or be a little bit too nice or too kind to other people, I will rather choose that road than to do something which will mean that I will turn into somebody that I don't want to be. It would always be a show. It would never be in real integrity with myself. And this is the thing that most INFJs struggle with, when in the end, it's not about pretending that you're somebody else. It's not about doing mean or bad things in order to get ahead in life. No, it's about integrating a part of ourselves that we have not done so far, that we project on the outside and we're not even aware of it. We suppress it, and therefore we actually are suffering the most. So the point is to get to a place where it's all fun and game, where it's all just who you are. It feels natural and your life just keeps on rolling. You are not even aware how it all happened, but today we're going to talk about how you can manifest this thing, how you can make it happen, how it works for you, and how you can really intensify this dark side, how you can make the most out of it and really use it as a weapon that's going to make your life move forward in a way it has never done before. Remember, if you haven't done this so far, to download the poster on the 5 pillars to an INFJ epic life. They will help you to go into the right direction. And if you want to take it to the next level, then work with me one-on-one. All the information you find in the links in the description. The main reason why we suppress our dark side is the fear of abandonment and judgment. And this is not something we do on a conscious level. It definitely isn't, because if we were aware of it, we wouldn't be doing it. If you would ask an INFJ, are you somebody who's afraid of judgment? Are you somebody who's afraid of abandonment? All they are going to tell you is, I've been judged all my life. I feel like I've been abandoned all my life. Why would I be afraid of that? But the truth is, we have experienced those things from an early childhood on, because we are different, because we have certain values that are not, common. Since we are around 1% of the population, of course, the way we see life, the way we see, how interaction should be, is going to be different than what most people experience. And so we're always going to be in the minority if we're not, surrounded by INFJs, how we are here. So of course, this is part of what you have established throughout your life, this fear of judgment, this fear of abandonment, because guess what? You've experienced those things. Those are really deep within you. And because of those fears, what do? We don't want to come off as somebody who's selfish, somebody who's self-centered, somebody who's all about, getting ahead, not doing things for others. And therefore, we have created a personality within ourselves that, mirrors that back. We can change our identity. This is what this is all about. This is not about you pretending to be somebody else and suffering through it all, but recognizing that part of you has been suppressed by you. And once you're able to integrate it, you can really harness this power in a way that really makes you move forward. Because guess what? If you use this dark side in a healthy way, it's not going to come out as, oh, I'm being selfish, oh, I'm being self-centered. What you're actually going to come off as is somebody who's self-confident, somebody who's happy with themselves, somebody who makes their dreams come true. And because you find that peace within yourself that you have never found before, you're going to be actually kinder to others. It seems counterintuitive at first, because I can tell you from personal experience, when I was in that place where I definitely hadn't integrated that dark side, I felt like, oh, but I am being helpful to others. I am being nice. I am being kind. How can I become more of that? And actually doing this by thinking more about myself. But now looking back at it, I recognize how often I have helped people. I have enabled people. I have been around people and helped them feel better about themselves because there was some kind of benefit that I was getting out of it. I didn't want to admit it to myself. It's not something that I did on purpose. It's not something that, I was doing with bad intentions. But yeah, Those people made my life a little bit more interesting. They gave me a purpose. It made me feel like, okay, now I'm going to be needed. Isn't that something that so many INFJs struggle with? This like fear of, okay, if people don't need me, why would they want to be around me? If I'm not making their life better, what's the deal? Like, why would they want to hang out with me? Why would they want to spend time with me? And that is the best indication for us not valuing ourselves. Because if we thought, well, of course, me thinking about myself, me making sure that my life is in order, that I'm actually an inspiration to others, that I'm not so focused on how can I make other people's lives better, but that I first value my life. And because I value my life, I prioritize my future. I prioritize what I'm going to achieve with my life. And that inspires others and makes them want to be around me. That's a completely different approach than, okay, I'm doing something for others and therefore they're going to want to be around me. So what does that have to do with the dark side? Well, the dark side has everything to do with anger, with power. It has a lot to do with our fourth function, extroverted sensing. In our case, this is in many cases the dark side because there's force behind it. And when there's force, it's always something that doesn't happen out of, okay, I'm allowing others to choose. What you're actually doing is saying, I have a certain idea of what I want and I'm going to go for it. That's the definition of SE if you think about it. Doing something in the real world, getting it done. Being a conqueror, you're conquering a space, you're conquering a field, you're conquering your life, you're pushing forward. And when you do that, you by default are going to bump against somebody else's understanding of life. That's just what it is. And you'll see this with ESTPs. They are going somewhere. They have an idea of what they want. They have an idea of what is right for them. And they are not even thinking about, does that bother others? See, I'm not bashing on ESTPs here at all. I'm just saying this is a natural thing like breathing. You're not thinking, oh, I can't breathe because I'm taking somebody else's oxygen away. It doesn't really work this way. But for us, it seems like if I put forward what I really want, if I say what I want, if I show others my light, if I don't dim my light, how's that going to make others feel? It's going to make them feel bad about themselves. They are going to recognize that they're not tapping into their potential, that I actually could have more potential than them, and all those stories we keep telling ourselves. And so you could talk about, okay, dimming our lights or not dimming our lights, but the fact is that it is a dark side. It is something that has to do with force. It has something to do with I'm taking something away from others. But it's not on us to decide how are people going to react to us taking what we want. I give you an example. You're with your friends and you're supposed to play some music. What is the first thought that comes into your mind? You're thinking about, okay, I have friend A, B, and C. They like this kind of music. Then I'm going to play that. It doesn't really occur to you, oh, what is my favorite song? Let me put that on. Or what is my kind of music? Let me put that on. It's not about not making a compromise, but you as an INFJs are not even thinking about it. Why not? Why is it more important to think about what your friends want to listen to than what you want to listen to? In this case, I understand it could be something of, okay, I'm just being generous. I'm trying to be a good host, right? I'll try to make it like welcoming to others. But for us, it's pathological. This is deeper than that. This is about every single life decision we make. And it all has to do with the fact that we don't want to come off as somebody who cares more about their stuff than others. And so, okay, let's say you say, okay, I'm going to change. I'm going to care more about like what I want. It's not really going to work if I don't think about it. If I'm not actively putting myself first, then I again am going to think about what others want more than what I want. So how do we actually tap into this force? Well, it's to understand that all this fear of judgment and abandonment, we can't run away from it. We actually have to face it. We have to understand it's better to be disliked for who we are than to be liked for something that we're not. It all starts with that. Because I wouldn't be talking about this with you today if this wasn't something that is holding you back. And it's holding you back from happiness. It's holding you back from feeling like you're living an epic life. from going for what you want. We as INFJs, we go through life and constantly we have this feeling like we can't push forward as fast as we would want to. We can't really experience life the way we want to. It's like we've been held back. And this is the reason. It's our dark side that's being hidden. So how do we do that? You can't tell yourself, okay, I'm just going to pretend. It's not going to work. We have to actually become a person who integrates that. And if you think about a relationship between a narcissist and somebody who's codependent, a dynamic that very often happens with INFJs, us being the codependent one and then having somebody in our life who tends to be more on the narcissistic spectrum, this is a typical issue and it has a lot to do with this fact, right? But let's say you have this relationship and you're the one who always gives 70% and the other person gives 30%. So for us to give, let's say 60% into the relationship, so actually demanding more from the other and saying, I'm going to prioritize myself more, is still going to feel like you're doing something bad. And guess what? That narcissist is still going to come up to you and say, you're not giving enough. Why have you pulled back? What are you expecting of me? This is not fair. So you're going to be faced with judgment. You're going to be faced with, okay, I'm going to abandon you, that kind of thing, like from others. But does that mean that you're doing something that is wrong? You're still giving those 60% and the other person is giving 40%. So you're still actually giving more than you're supposed to. Why am I telling you this story? I'm telling you this story because you cannot be aware of how much you're actually sacrificing for others and not giving to yourself when you're in that position. Like, I'm not aware of it. I'm not being that naive to think that, oh, I've mastered this. This is perfect. But I know for sure that I'm not the person I used to be. And I do have a different identity around it. And once you understand how to get there, it actually feels like the most natural thing. But you have to first do the steps that are necessary. And those steps are asking of yourself to take steps that seem counterintuitive, doing something that will make others judge you and abandon you. So it means being upfront more, telling others what you think, telling others what you like, doing things where people will have an opinion about it. It's going to be different than what it is for you. And this is the most important thing, making sure that you do things where you prioritize yourself, where your anger comes out, where you allow yourself to be ambitious, where you allow yourself to think about, okay, what if I forget about everybody else? What if I put myself first? What if I make my life the main thing that I have to focus on? And it will force you to think in different terms. That's why the poster is so great, because it actually asks you, okay, look at those different areas of your life. How are you prioritizing your future? How are you prioritizing your life? How are you making sure that you value yourself most? And if you're in a position where you haven't done this so far, guess what? You are going to feel like you're lying to yourself. You're going to feel like, okay, I'm doing things that don't seem, like they're going to change my identity. But habits form identity. This is something we have to understand. We have to do things that seem like they're not us. We have to do things that seem like, okay, I never wanted to be that person. But trust me, if you're not that person, you will turn back into the person you used to be. What do I mean by this? I mean, you don't have to be afraid that you will, go to the dark side, that you will be a bad person, that you will be selfish, that you'll be like all the people that you never wanted to be like. Because those people never had those questions within themselves. They never even once asked themselves, oh, are others going to like this? Is this good for others? No, there is like this thing within them that doesn't allow them to look beyond what is, in their own benefit at first sight. There's also, a feeling of not being good enough, behind it all, but that's not for us to debunk. So many of us are so focused on trying to help others to get over their stuff, to be their best version, to do all of those things. Let's be that person for ourselves. You have to start tapping into those things that you don't find very lovable about yourself. Your angry side, your selfish side, the side that cares more about getting you ahead than others. You are the main character in your movie. And if you're afraid that you're going to turn out as somebody who, you don't want to be somebody who's mean and, just unkind and all about their ego, you can still change back. If this is not who you are, you can always, do something different. But let's first try it out. If you're not willing to go overboard, how can you find what a great balance is for you? Remember that story I told you about the narcissist and the codependent? The codependent who has been giving 70% into a relationship and now switches back to the 60. Of course they're going to feel like a bad person for it. That's why, people who are being, let's say physically abused in a relationship, they say, I can't leave my partner. They're suffering so much. They have such a hard life. They're actually defending the person who hurts them the most. We have to admit to ourselves that we're not going to be the best judges when it comes to deciding, am I being, at a great balance when it comes to being good or bad or whatever it may be. You have to be willing to go in a direction which is going to force you to look at those parts of yourself that you don't like so much. Those parts of being jealous, those parts of being, all about what you want, that we all carry within ourselves. That's part of nature. That's actually survival. If we didn't have those parts within us, if this wasn't part of our brain, we would die right away because we wouldn't have any kind of, will to live. This is in our mind and in our brain because if it came down to it, we have to be willing to say, I want to live and I'm going to prioritize my life. This is in our brain. This is not something you can change. So if this is part of who you are and we're suppressing it because we're afraid of everything that could happen, then by default, it's going to be better to embrace it. It's going to be better to integrate it because you're going to find out that the more you suppress, the more you push out, the more you actually deny who you are, the less real connections you can have, the less you experience life to the fullest, and the less power you have to move forward. Your ambition goes out of the window. You are not motivated at all. If you struggle with any of those things, then put yourself in a position where you say, yes, I'm embracing my dark side. I'm intensifying it. I'm going to make it my own. And I'm not going to be afraid of being judged. I'm not going to be afraid of being abandoned. I'm not going to be afraid of people thinking that I'm selfish, because let them think that. I have to figure out what a great balance is for me, where I am completely allowing myself to be fully alive. Trust me, it's going to change your life. Remember, if you don't know exactly how to get that whole thing started, get the poster. If you want to take it to the next level, get the audio guide and work with me one-on-one if you really want to go into the details of what it looks like in your life. All the information you find in the links in the description. And if you want to watch another video now that is in alignment with today's topic, then watch the video how the INFJ uses their dark side to gain an unfair advantage in life.